Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a ride in the 1994 Corvette. Now this is a base model 6-speed. It's one I've had for a while now that I don't drive it as much as I should because I drive my Jeep all the time. But Corvettes, they're America's car. How can you not love a Corvette? And the thing is with the C4s, these are actually very reliable daily driver cars. With the LT1, you can average 20 to 23 miles a gallon if you're driving sensibly. Most of us don't. This one, as of right now, let's see, my average is 18.9. So I don't beat up on the car, but I do drive it. Now my first love of a Corvette came when I was around 12 years old. My brother had a 1979 Corvette, had a 1980 body on it, so it's just a little bit different. The 79s weren't quite as low to the ground as far as the ground effects on it. In 80 they changed that. But I still to this day, at 42 years old, I remember riding around in that car. It was in the late 80s, maybe early 90s. I still remember riding in that car, listening to the Chicago 17 album, and just feeling like I was the biggest deal in the world because I was in a Corvette. These were cars that when you seen them, they commanded respect. You knew that whoever was driving that car was probably one of the most popular people around, because who else has a Corvette? Everybody else was driving Mustangs, Camaros. When you had a Corvette, you were in a different league as everybody else. So the first Corvette I ever bought was a 1975. It was probably the biggest piece of crap of any car I've ever had. But then again, I was around 17 years old. I couldn't afford anything else. Well, then when I was around, I think I was 18, 19, I bought a 1984 Corvette. Now that's the first year of the C4. It's also one of the most hated years of Corvettes in general because it had the Crossfire motor. Now the Crossfire, they carried it over from 82. If you knew how to work on it, it wasn't a bad motor. If you didn't, it was an absolute nightmare. My 84 was one of the best cars I ever had. I can't remember one time of it breaking down. I can't remember any repairs I had to do other than gas and oil changes, and of course rear tires, because I was a kid in a Corvette. Now when I look at the 94, it's only 300 horsepower. So in today's standards, that's not a lot. The 4-cylinder turbo Mustang has more power than this car. The V6 Dodge Challengers have more power than this car. But none of those get the attention or the respect that a Corvette gets. The Corvettes in the 50s were classified as America's sports car. Back then it was an inline 6. So my personal opinion, the Corvettes have evolved so far now that they can compete with the McLarens and the Ferraris. But they were never intended to be the fastest thing on the road. But they're probably one of the funnest cars you'll ever drive. Other than our Mini Cooper Supercharged, this is probably the funnest car that I've ever driven. Now, a couple things you need to look for on the C4s. The headlights are going to be your first thing. If you're looking to buy one, turn the headlights on. If they're slow to turn up or if you hear a clicking sound, your motors need to be rebuilt or replaced. If you rebuild them, you're going to be about $30 to $50 for the gears. If you replace them, I've seen $95 for both of them on Amazon, all the way up to $300 for one. My advice is just rebuild them, put new plastic gears in them, be done. Now the other thing that's a common issue, when you drive one, wiggle the steering wheel. A lot of people, because you fall into these cars and you climb out, a lot of people use the steering wheel to pull themselves out. The problem, there's 2 bolts down on the steering column that wallow out. When they do that, it causes a little bit of steering wheel shake, Most shops are going to charge you anywhere from $300 to $500 to fix that, because you pretty much have to take the whole steering column down. It's a pretty big job. The number one complaint you're going to hear about all of the later C4s that had the LT1 is the OptiSpark. If you've had a Corvette, you know about it. If you're looking at them, I'm sure you've heard about it. OptiSpark, if you do it yourself, you're probably $400 to $600, mainly because you want to go ahead and replace the water pump. You want to go ahead and do a tune-up, and it's a great time to do a new thermostat, flush your coolant system, because you're taking most of that stuff off anyway. If you look at a car and the OptiSpark has been done, try to get a receipt, because most of them are a lifetime warranty. Also find out what kind it is. Most people are going to buy the cheapest one they can find. And if you do that, chances are you will replace the OptiSpark a second time. But the positive thing is, if it was done correctly the first time, you've already got a new water pump. So at that point, you're just replacing the OptiSpark and your gaskets. The other thing to look at is your weather stripping. During your test drive, take it out at a car wash. Go get the thing wet and see if you've got any leaks. If you do have leaks, it's not a big deal. All of these cars have them. Even with brand new weather stripping in a really, really bad rainstorm or with a pressure washer, you're going to get a leak. I think it is $5.99 at Eckler's Corvette to get the complete gasket set. I would do that anyway, because again, the newest C4 right now is about 25 years old. This one's 27 years old. Most of the weather stripping was original. That stuff dry rots, it cracks. They make a conditioner that you can put on it that's going to help with some of that. So even if you do put new weather stripping on it, go ahead, replace, use the conditioner to protect that replaced weather stripping. Now, a few of the positives about the car. They are a blast to drive. You're going to love it. Handling the curves on one of these cars is unbelievable. Interstate on this car, watch for speeding tickets. You'll get up to 80, 85 before you realize it, and you're going to feel like you're driving about 60. If you get a manual, that 300 horsepower is not bad, because you feel the power. You're in more control of the power. So taking off is fun. Gearing down and passing people is fun. But don't have too much fun, because you'll get a ticket. The other things, they're actually pretty fuel efficient. When you're driving these cars and you drive it like you got some sense, you can average 23 to 26 miles a gallon. I'm actually taking this car to Ohio in about 3 weeks. It's 8 hours one way. But because I'm going to drive like I got sense, I'm not concerned. It's going to be better than driving my Jeep. If I drive this car normal, everyday driving, just babying it, I get better fuel mileage than my wife's Hyundai Sonata. That's pretty impressive for a sports car. Now the other thing, your storage. That's kind of it's a positive and a negative, because there is enough storage for a grocery trip, for going to the mall, get what you need. For a weekend trip for 2 people, you got enough storage. But you're not going to go on a 1-week vacation and have enough storage unless you pack smart and you pack light. So I personally feel like everybody should have a Corvette at least once in their life. But the thing you need to remember, these cars were not meant to just sit in the garage. Carol Shelby made a comment, and it said something to the effect of, these cars were meant to be driven, not garaged. So drive them and enjoy the hell out of them, other than just how they look when they're clean. So if you've ever wanted a fun car that's pretty practical, but it's going to be different, it's going to still be worth money years from now, because let's face it, these C4s are getting harder to find in good condition. And when you do find them, especially the manuals, they're bringing pretty good money. This car, when I do sell it, because we all know I sell everything I buy, Bruiser is the only vehicle I have that's not ever for sale. When I sell this car, it'll be $9,000 to $10,000. And it's because it is a low mileage, clean car, and it's a 6-speed. But you can find these cars in average condition, automatics, for anywhere from $4,500 to $6,500. You may have to drive a little bit, you may have to search pretty hard, but they're out there and they are affordable. Now, 4 or 5 years from now, I don't know what the values are going to be, mainly because the C3s are getting so hard to find a really nice one that people are moving to the C4s. Just like those square body trucks, the 67 to 72s are almost impossible to find for a good deal, so people are moving to the square bodies. These cars are no different. The other thing, you got people like me that are in our early 40s that are looking at these cars that we couldn't afford in high school or right after high school, and we're buying them up to enjoy life. Some people call it a midlife crisis. I call it living life. Just like I said in one of my last videos, you're either going to work to live or live to work. I work to live life. I work to enjoy the things. And when it comes to a car like this, I couldn't afford it years ago, but today I can. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If the car doesn't sell, we're going to do some more videos with the car. We're going to do some performance videos. We're going to have fun with it. But as most of you know with me, it'll probably get sold pretty quick. Hopefully I still have it for the Ohio trip. If I do, it's going. We're going to do some more videos then. So guys, check back for the next one. We'll see you later.